As we mentioned earlier, Michigan is about to become the nation's 24th right-to-work state.
The Michigan legislature approved a contentious plan limiting the power of unions, and Republican Governor Snyder is expected to sign the bill tomorrow. Will Jones is an associate professor of history at UW-Madison, and he is an expert on race and labor. Welcome to Live at 5.
Thank you.
Nice to see you. So what does it mean to be a right-to-work state?
Well, a right-to-work law prohibits either unions or employers from signing a contract that requires union membership for working in a particular place. So that makes belonging to a union a condition of employment.
Of course, the unions, the pictures in Michigan, I mean, looking a lot like what we've seen.
That's right.
You know, does this set a precedent nationwide? Because I know the precedent was talked about quite a bit when we saw the protests in Madison and all of that go down. What's happening here?
I mean, in some ways, there's a similar sort of symbolism that that Wisconsin was the first state to pass a collective bargaining law for public employees, and so the curtailing of that law in Wisconsin had a sort of national set a national precedence, or had some national resonance. Michigan is, historically a very strong union state. It's the birthplace of the United Auto Workers, one of the strongest unions in the country. And so, in a similar way, I think this does, if not set a precedent. I mean, it's hard to say where this is going to go, but it's certainly a really symbolic.
What is it specifically that people on both sides want? I think from the union perspective, it's pretty straightforward. But for the people who support right to work, it's to have the option of whether or not to join a union and to pay union dues. Is it as simple as that?
Well, some people, there's an argument that right-to-work laws, because they weaken union, they're more attractive, they make a state more attractive to investment. There's actually very little evidence to show that. States that have passed right-to-work laws do not tend to sort of experience an economic explosion afterward. Most right-to-work laws are relatively poor compared to states that do not have right-to-work laws, so there's not much evidence for that. The other argument, as you said, is that it gives people the right to work in a place without union membership being a condition of employment. The response to unions is that they really operate on a majority rule principle. And so they're required to negotiate on behalf of people whether they belong to the union or not. In a sense, this creates what unions call a free rider situation, where people can enjoy the benefits of union membership, of having a union advocate on their behalf, but they have no obligation to support the union. One analogy might be if you think about a government that made taxes sort of voluntary, right? People could drive on the road, but they wouldn't have any obligation to pay for that road. And you can imagine how devastating that would be to a local budget.
And it looks like a long journey ahead for Michigan. Professor Jones, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you. Nice to see you.
Thank you.